Today is a dumpster dive. And if you read the title, you probably already know the premise. I asked for the Discord / chat's hottest gaming takes. And I am going to rank them on a bit of a tier list.
Garbage day people happy.
But before we get to that, we have a little business to attend to. Hold on. This is very important, and I totally had it prepared. Definitely had it prepared. Pay no mind to the fact that I'm actively typing.
Garbage day! Huh? No!
Indeed, that is what day it is. It's frickin' garbage day, baby. Welcome to the Dumpster Dive, where I'll be ranking my chat and my community's hottest gaming takes on a tier list in terms of their relative spiciness. We will be going... Whack is kind of its own category for shit that's just a weird opinion. Otherwise, we are going from lukewarm to warm to spicy to flamin' hot to firing squad. Think I got a fever, so I'm probably not gonna watch serum. Practically bedridden. Hey, I hope you feel better, gamer guy. Firing squad. Yeah, that's for the really shit takes. I'm not sure we've had any that are that spicy. I'll start with Destiny 2 is actually good, and I like the story. That is like right off the bat, that is a firing squad worthy take. So there we go. We're starting off strong. So I will admit that the catalyst for this idea, this dumpster dive idea, was the whole yellow paint thing on Twitter. So let me see here. Let me find the original. Here we go. This is the original post right here. This guy said, the yellow paint is so unnecessary. Obviously, a ladder is climbable. Obviously, a crate is breakable. Why did they do this? And this little tweet with 16.3 million views started an insane shitstorm on Twitter, including, let me find it quick, my own contribution, which was this tweet. Having some guests over. Just want to make sure they can find the bathroom all right. And I just showed my bathroom door with a little bit of yellow paint on it. And what do you know? It had 635.3 thousand views and 34.5 thousand likes. And it's still going. It's still going. I was getting likes today. It kind of slowed down and then it picked up again. And then, of course, there was also the lesser known sequel. My patch notes. I just thought people maybe needed a little bit more help. Our bathroom door is ruined now. Yeah, this is true. This is not photoshopped. Britta was fine with the yellow paint, but she drew the line at the blood. She wasn't a fan of the blood. So anyways, that was kind of the hot take that was on my mind that inspired this whole segment. So what we're gonna do, I have collected some from Discord already. But as we go, if people have ideas in chat, then I can throw them into the mix here. So we started with Destiny 2 is good, which I believe is a firing squad worthy take. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know enough about Destiny 2 to even really comment on this, but I think putting it in firing squad is probably is the funniest maybe outcome. So we'll stick with that. I think actually a good place to start, and I apologize, I took some suggestions from the Discord that I think were some people gave very thoughtful responses, and I had to kind of bastardize them down to just one line. But Retro said, basically, I prefer yellow paint to getting lost. And I would say, for this week, I would say that lands at least spicy. I'm ranking that one spicy. I think a lot of gamers think they don't need any guidance in games, and they're probably actually wrong. But there's something about the yellow paint that I think is just a little bit patronizing. And that's my take on that. But that seems like a fitting one to start off with. And I have some takes to add to this, but I'll throw them in last, I think. And I can maybe have you guys vote on where they should land. You need at least a bit of guidance. Yeah, I would agree. Well, and it depends on the game, too. Like, a popular AAA game is probably just naturally going to need more. I got the memory of a pea, so I need the paint. Again, I think a lot of people think that the only way games ever guide you is by obnoxious shit like yellow paint. There are definitely more subtle, effective ways to do it. Can't play Minecraft without a waypoint or minimap mod. Yeah. That's true. There was a
hot take. 3D platformers with third-person puff suck.
That opinion may already be represented in the takes that I have accepted so far. So, we'll get to that. Yeah, the thing with Minecraft is I always end up just using the coordinates anyways. Like I just write down coordinates. At that point, you may as well have a waypoint mod. Okay, the next one came from Sneeze. And again, Sneeze wrote a lot more than this. But his basic idea was Undertale is a good story, but not good game. I've never played Undertale personally, which is kind of funny to say. But how spicy would we rank this take, chat? You think this one's flaming hot? I would kind of agree. Hang on, something weird with the text here. Britta says, I'd agree. I love the story, but the gameplay is boring. Honestly, warm. I'd just say spicy. I think you can think that a game is great because it tells a great story. I feel like Undertale, again, having not played it, I feel like Undertale probably tells a story that would be difficult to tell in a medium other than video games. So I think for that reason, it has justified its existence. But I think thinking that the gameplay isn't fun is kind of just like a matter of opinion. It's a mock of RPG turn-based gameplay. I mean, it's not like really turn-based, right? But it's kind of got that like style to it. I don't know enough to really grade this. I'll put it in warm, though, if people think. I've seen warm and I've seen spicy. Playing video games on mute is more fun than playing with the sound on. Oh my god. Wait, I'm adding that one for sure. Playing video games on mute is better than with sound. Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree that really depends on the game. However, I would put this take either in whack, because it's weird, but but I mean, if that's what you're into, it's fine. Like no one is gonna tell you you can't do that, or firing squad. It's one of the two. It's one of the two for sure. There are games where I think you need sound. I mean, this is a genuinely hot take, I think. But I feel like unless you're saying I think other people should play games with no sound, then I feel like it's just whack. Every time I download a new game, I open up the volume mixer and turn that shit off. What kind of games are you playing? I feel like I have to know. Because last week when we did the Topsters charts, you just submitted a black square, so I don't even know what you play. I played Blasphemous and Dead Cells muted so I can listen to music. He plays Donda Chant. I'm just putting that one in whack because I don't understand it. I just don't understand it. Okay. I didn't get much elaboration on this one. But, Celts said Zelda is overrated. which I would say probably lands flamin' hot. You took that back? Well, we don't have to say it's your opinion then. There are definitely people out there who say Zelda is overrated. So fine, if you don't take ownership over this take, that's all right, but I'm still going to throw it on the chart anyways. Because I definitely disagree with this. I think that Lucas the Lobster has taken ownership over Zelda is overrated. I definitely disagree with this. I think it's I think if you go back now and play older Zelda games, it's easy to understate their influence. But I think by and large, mainline Zelda games are among the most influential games of all time. And it's not all that close. I agree it's overhyped. People talk about overhyped, but you have to, I feel like you have to, given how much hype they have, I feel like you have to, the burden of explaining why it's overhyped is on the people who think it's overhyped. You know what I'm saying? I think you gotta sell me on why it's overhyped, because I think the hype over the years is deserved. I think maybe Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, maybe this is kind of a hot take for me, are not my favorites, but I mean, Zelda games go way back to before that. I mean, if you just think Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are overrated, that's one thing. The games just look boring. Brother, have you played them? Wow, you're not even allowed to have an opinion on this if you haven't played them. That's crazy. You can't say they're overhyped because they look boring. Okay, you played a few. You played a few. That's fair. At least you played them. If you hadn't played them, that would be a ridiculous take. He needs to play Tears of the Kingdom. I don't like Tears of the Kingdom that much. I really don't. I mean, I enjoyed it for a while, and I just felt no need to finish it. But yeah, I mean, Ocarina of Time and Wind Waker are among my favorite games of all time. And, I mean, I think it's hard to make a case for any 3D game other than Ocarina of Time being, like, the most influential 3D game of all time. Maybe Doom. Like, it's literally up there with Doom, though. So I don't see how you could say those games are overrated, but I'm throwing that in flaming hot. Moral of the story. We had this from General, which I think a lot of people will probably agree with, but I do not. Skyrim. Okay, I got to get the wording right here, because I think the wording actually does change the change this take a little bit. Skyrim is dog shit, carried by mods. I would say this is spicy. I would say this is spicy, and I think that with how good and how much longevity mods have given Skyrim, I think it's easy to say that the base game is not good. But I think the base game of Skyrim is still really good, in my opinion. I think they did a lot right with the base game of Skyrim. It has some problems too, but the truth is that there's no other real, like, AAA games that do anything remotely like Skyrim. And if you think you have an example, I would love to hear it, and then probably disagree with you. Because in my opinion, no one has ever made a game that is even close to Skyrim. Not even Bethesda. But that said, I can at least agree that mods drastically improve the experience, especially if you're playing it today in 2023. So I would say I can't go any higher than spicy with this take, but I do think it's spicy. Here's another one. Quake is better than Half-Life. I'm gonna put this one warm. Because I feel like most, well, it's warm or spicy. What do we think? Warm or spicy? I feel like there's a lot of people who prefer Quake. You think it's spicy? I think Half-Life is maybe the overall more celebrated game. I don't know. There was a lot more to this was Jan Bosch, I think, gave this one. There was a lot more to their argument than that, but yeah, I don't know. I think Quake is a very celebrated game. I don't think it's a very like spicy take to say that it's better than Half-Life. I think a lot of people would disagree with that, but I think a lot of people probably like both Quake and Half-Life. I think Quake maybe overall is more influential than Half-Life. I'm not sure. It's hard to say though. Half-Life definitely has more of a focus on like story and interactivity, which is more common with like modern FPS games. It's kind of a tough call. Quake gave us Ultra Kill, Half-Life gave us Titanfall. Speak to that. In what way are Half-Life and Titanfall similar? I would say Titanfall is more similar to Quake as well. I'm not following your logic, really. I'm putting that one in warm, though. All right, this one comes from our very own Valentino. And this one is really spicy, I think. This might even be flaming hot. This is kind of a poor wording of this, but the gist of it is that Call of Duty and FromSoft basically both are recycling their games. Like, just releasing the same game every time. I would say that's flaming hot. Titanfall uses a modifier. Oh, you're just talking about the engine. Okay, I still feel like the game is very different, though. True. You're saying true. How is this true? Call of Duty has felt so stale. No, but his argument is that they're the same thing. Like they're the same. How is there a better way to word this? Like they're equally guilty of recycling games. Something like that, maybe. I heavily disagree with this. And not because I would say that FromSoft aren't like recycling game assets and concepts, but I think the way that it's being done is significantly less egregious than Call of Duty. Yeah, Call of Duty is being milked every year. FromSoft games are coming out every few years when they're ready, and they're usually, you know, critically well received, and generally each one kind of expands on the previous one in some way. Call of Duty is just kind of cashing a check every year. So I would say that is a flaming hot take. I don't know if that's firing squad worthy. You get off on a technicality here, because while you're technically not wrong, I think there's a lot of nuance that's missing from this this argument. But yeah, I would say that is flaming hot, at least. I think I have my first lukewarm take here. I don't even know if I necessarily agree. I'm just gonna remove some words here. This is from hello. This is from Majuri. And the opinion was no boomer shooter is close to as good as Ultra Kill. I don't know if I think it's tough, because I think a lot of people at this point don't even consider Ultra Kill to really be a boomer shooter, because it's so different. But in terms of like using the basis of like a boomer shooter transformatively, I think there's no game that really does it as interestingly or as well as Ultra Kill. I mean, certainly it's hard to debate that the success kind of speaks for itself there. I think, yeah, I would say that Dusk is as good as Ultra Kill in a lot of ways. It's just a really different game. Do we think this is a warm take? I think a lot of people hold this opinion, but I think it comes from just like having not played enough other games. Honestly, prefer Turbo Overkill in the current state. That's fair too. Heavily biased take. Well, all of these takes are biased. They're all hot takes. I'm saying it's warm, maybe. I think it might be. This would be a hot take. For like, this would be maybe a hotter take for like the masses, but for this chat in this community, it's warm. We have another Ultra Kill take here, and this is definitely a lukewarm one. I'm just gonna type this one out. Ultra Kill, Act 2, better than Act 1 and Prelude. That is as lukewarm as they get. I think almost everyone agrees with this at this point. And if they don't, it's really just nostalgia for Act 1 and Prelude. They're really good still, but like I think even Hikita would agree that the level design has just improved. That was one of my more boring ones. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's a fair opinion. I just think it's very I think most people agree with that. Okay, moving on. Ooh. This is another one from Majuri. I think this one is spicy to maybe even flamin' hot here. The opinion was essentially that video game OSTs are only good in their context. Like, as in, he would not sit down and listen to an OST outside of its context. I don't necessarily agree with this, but you think it's Firing Squad? Okay, we're going Firing Squad with it. It's that bad. I feel a little more, I feel like this take is a little more agreeable to me, because of a hot take that I will share of my own later on. Actually, you know what? I'll just add my own hot take on this subject right now. Let's see. How to word this. Liking video game OSTs is not a music taste. So this is kind of a different... I don't think there's anything wrong with enjoying video game OSTs, but I think if you like the music in a video game because it was in a video game that you like, I don't think that is a taste in music. And I think at worst, that's maybe like a warm take. That might even be a lukewarm take. I think if you don't appreciate the music inherently for itself, like if you wouldn't have listened to it because it wasn't in a game that you like, that's not a taste in music. What do we think? This is my own take, so I can't be unbiased. I can't imagine it being more than like warm. Only good for studying? It's warm? Okay. I know some people would probably be mad about this. Warm is getting a little full here. I may need to reduce my font size. I've liked video game music for games I haven't played before. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I think, though, you sought that music out and listened to it because you wanted to, though. Like, you didn't... So, I mean, maybe that's, like, the nuance that's missing from this, from the way this is typed, but, like, yeah, if you like Fury music, but you never played Fury, then you just like that music. You heard it on my stream. That's kind of funny, actually. Okay, I need to add some context to this one. I actually want to find the original post on Discord because I think it was interesting, and I think it's a little bit spicy, and I don't want to misrepresent it. Where was it? This take is from User. And the way I wrote it down was that ESRB ratings don't matter, but that's not what he said. Let's see. Here's what user said. He said, you don't need your games to focus on being the most family-friendly shit on the planet. It's just going to make your game worse in the long run. Just do your own thing rather than focusing on some pointless rating. People are still going to play your game whether it's rated E for everyone or rated M for mature. So what I think he's trying to say is that ratings don't matter in the digital era where anyone can buy and play any game. I think they still matter. And honestly, I have my own grievances with the fact that, like, anyone could just play any game. But I think this is still a spicy take. Or maybe saying... I mean, the thing is, it depends on how you look at it. Because if what he's saying is, like... Don't design your game for a certain rating, then I would say that's lukewarm. Which is kind of what he's saying. I feel like it mattered more when hard copies were at its peak, but it matters significantly less than it once was. Yeah, like, I straight up don't even know where to find the ESRB rating on a Steam store page. Like, straight up. Here's one that I think almost everyone is going to say Firing Squad. This is from Valentino. Just so you know who to hate. He'll ban your ass if you talk shit to him, but just so you can silently see that him. Titanfall 2 is overrated. I don't agree with this. I think Titanfall 2 at the current point in time is adequately rated. I think there was a point in time where this game was honestly underrated. I mean, this game, to my understanding, didn't, like, review particularly amazingly. It didn't sell particularly amazingly when it first came out. It's really only picked up steam since it has been available for sale on Steam. No pun intended. So I don't really see how, under what light this game could be considered overrated. There's also not really any other multiplayer game quite like Titanfall 2 right now. I'd never really gotten into the multiplayer myself, but the fact that people still, like, defend the shit out of the multiplayer and play it all the time should tell you all you need to know about, like, how singular the experience of Titanfall multiplayer is. I think that's because of how people talk like it's the best game in the universe. How many people reasonably talk like that, though? I don't see that many people calling Titanfall 2 the best game of all time, if I've ever even seen that. I think a lot of people just enjoy the multiplayer, and there's not really another experience like it out there. Which I think is a fair thing to say. Met quite a few. I'm tempted to read the whole vanilla Minecraft sucks. That opinion is well represented in here. It's great, but there's caveats. Is it overrated though? I don't think it's overrated. I'd be willing to bump this down. Speaking of Minecraft, by the way. Oh, wait, no, this isn't Minecraft, is it? No, it's not. This is Pokemon. Reduce the size on this one. What do we think? Is that a flaming hot take? It's not over nor underrated. It's adequately rated. Minecraft is only good because of nostalgia and creativity. Those are perfectly valid reasons to like a game. That's not even true, though, because new people are playing Minecraft all the time. It's not a hot take. You're right, it's not a hot take. It's a dumb take. It's the best-selling game of all time. This one is a completely lukewarm take, to the point where I almost don't even want to put it on the chart. What the fuck? Go away. Photoshop wild in today. This was from Majuri, and basically what he said was that people who are bored of games need to expand their horizons or find a new hobby. I'm not gonna lie, I totally agree with this. It's not a hot take. I think that is just good advice. I do think there is, like, a little bit of an issue where grow up gaming and it's like a big part of their life and they just can't imagine their life without gaming, but then they start to get sick of games and they don't know what to do. I mean, the truth is, just pick up another hobby. like honestly, it's not that big of a deal. I've gone through periods in my life where I played almost no games, and someday I just came back to it and I was like, okay, I'm into this again. Yeah, I mean, just don't do something so much that it saps all your enjoyment of it. I don't think that's a hot take, but I do think it's advice some people need to hear. This one is kind of a bit of a niche one. This is from Zaf again. Doom conversions lack a distinct identity. I don't think this is true for all of them, but there is definitely, like, unless you're really like a wizard with GZ Doom, which some people are, I think there is kind of a bit of a commonality that a lot of Doom conversions just feel like Doom, like with a different coat of paint. I can agree with that. I still think they're cool though. I think it's cool, like, whether or not this is true, I just think it's cool that like people are still making like Doom conversions and stuff. Is this lukewarm though? I feel compelled to put it in warm, but like warm is already filling up. Although I do have some tricks up my sleeve here. Check this out. Whoa. We got a little more space now. Holy shit. And then. Whoa. Oops. Let's see. There it is. How did he do that? I am a wizard. You saw how good my yellow paint shit post was? That's my special ability. That's my alt, is creating shit posts in Photoshop. Doom Eternal on an iPod was wild though, not gonna lie. I don't even know what you're talking about, honestly. I'm not sure that you know what a Doom conversion is if you think that's what we're talking about. I think you guys fundamentally understand what this means by Doom conversion. It's not the same thing. I definitely have another lukewarm one though. Saw someone play Doom on a pregnancy test. I saw someone play it on XL. Someone got Doom Eternal to run on an iPod. I don't know what you mean, but like still cool. I'm just saying that if you thought that's what I meant by Doom conversion, you're wrong, because Doom conversion is like people making like a new game in like GZ Doom on top of, you know, the original Doom, or Doom 2 realistically is what most of them are. This is a lukewarm take, easily. AAA devs will never get better as long as they keep profiting. I think everyone knows this. It's like, it's maybe the most lukewarm. I mean, it's a good point, but it's very lukewarm. Here's another one from Retro. Oops. So I definitely bastardized this one down, but the gist of it was, if games are art, not all games need to be fun. And I think this is an interesting point. I don't really know where to put this, though. I think people definitely have an aversion to games that are kind of like experiences more than they are games. But there are definitely like here's a way to put it. Like, I think about the game Stray. I enjoyed that game, but that game kind of plays itself, right? I wouldn't say I didn't have fun with it, but there was people in my chat asking me like, where's the gameplay? Like, why is there no gameplay? And I mean, it's kind of just like not what the game is about. Like, I think maybe an even better way to say this is that not every game necessarily needs to have quote unquote gameplay want to have at least some enjoyment in a game. Yeah, but couldn't the enjoyment be just having a new experience or, you know, being told a new story? That it doesn't have to be like fast-paced, high-octane action every time. I would say this is spicy, though, probably. Telltale games? I think you still interact with Telltale games in a way that is, like, inherently gamey. Her Story is real good. I've never played that, but it seems interesting. Probably a cold take, but TF2 players are annoying outside of their own community. Are you talking about... I assume you're talking about Team Fortress 2? I don't really... I don't have any opinion on them. This one, okay. I have mixed feelings on this one. This is from Zaf again. All games should have roadmaps. I think games that are in active development should have roadmaps. Like games that are like early access games or betas or whatever. But I think this take is inherently based in modern times where games come out unfinished. I think it's not a hot take to say that games should just release finished. But it's kind of weird that we've gotten to this point where there's an expectation of like roadmap content for every game that comes out. So I have a little trouble with this one. Is this one just whack? This one might just be whack. What? Oh, you're talking about Titanfall 2. Whenever movement is mentioned, they say stuff like the children yearn for Titanfall. It's just the product of the current gaming environment. Yeah, I don't even think this is really a bad opinion. I think it just makes me angry about like where gaming is currently. So for that reason, I'm going to put it in whack. Here's one that I think is pretty spicy. It's probably spicy, in fact. 2D platformers are better than 3D platformers. I don't inherently agree or disagree with this. I think that both can be done well. Warm, it's just true. It's not just true. That's what's called an opinion. It's fucking stupid. It's fair to have this opinion, but it's not just true. That is stupid. Both have their merits. I would agree. I would say this is spicy. I think it's hard to say definitively that one is better than the other. But I could see why someone would prefer a 2D platformer over a 3D platformer. There's just less going on. You know, no camera control allows you to just focus on the actual like player controls. But then again, 3D platformers have some really fun stuff going on. Like you think about like Super Mario 64. Like you can't do that kind of stuff in 2D. And that game has definitely stood the test of time. Everything here is false. Friday Night Funkin' Sweeps. Now that's a firing squad take right there. I think first-person 3D platformers are okay, but third-person 3D platformers suck. See that now that I think is a flaming hot take. I think first-person platforming sucks, like for the most part. There's just something about it that I don't like. Yeah, I don't agree with that at all. I think in terms of like how I would rank them, I would say 2D platformers are more or less equal to third-person 3D platformers, and they're both better than first-person platformers. I have a very hot take of the Ultra Kill community. Throw it out there. It's probably not as hot as you think. Okay, I think my chat is probably going to agree with this because you're all baby gamers. But this one was Terraria is way better than Minecraft. My opinion is that they're just not the same thing. They're just not the same thing at all. I don't think this is a very hot take. to be honest. But I just think they're not the same thing at all. I think that Minecraft is, Ultra Go community is absolutely awful. It has great people in it in general, but it is not great, made worse by children. That is like the coldest take of all time in this chat. Minecraft is more about like just creativity and kind of open-endedness. Terraria really is much more of a gamey game. I think that, yeah, and it is grindy. I would agree with that. I personally prefer Minecraft to Terraria, but more like goal-oriented people, I can understand why they would like Terraria better. Totally understand. Because it just has a lot more to do, a lot more to work towards, and it is just like more of a game, whereas Minecraft kind of feels like a platform. I would say this is warm. It's not quite lukewarm, but I think a lot of people agree with this. I just, in my opinion, they're not even like really aiming for the same thing. Okay, this was another one that had to be edited down considerably just to like fit in one sentence. But I believe this was from Fairly Odd in chat. It was long and complex stories make games worse. I would say this is a flaming hot take. I think it might be a little more agreeable in this chat of people who mainly play indie games that are light on story. But I think by and large, 95% of gamers would disagree with this. What's up, Chico? I think Steam needs to consider the Temple OS platform as an important forgotten base of users. I disagree with that. I meant games that focus on stories are usually worse. Well, I bastardized your take into a hotter take. I hope that's okay. Hot take, I think all games should be available on Steam. How do you think the world works? I would love to inhabit your reality where you think that's possible. All right, we got our token Dave take here. Risk of Rain 2 is overrated. I'm just gonna throw this. Actually, did he even say overrated? I'm gonna get his exact wording here so that we can dismantle it. Dave, oh Dave, where are you? There you are. Risk of Rain 2 is greatly overrated. The shooting is bland and the gameplay is monotonous. Music is pretty good though. Well, he's right at the end there. Dave is the reason I'm gonna try Risk of Rain 2. If someone told me they didn't like Risk of Rain 2, I would be like, okay. But recently I talked to Dave about his reasoning for not liking Risk of Rain 2, and it made zero sense to me. So that's why I want to put it in the firing squad. But reasonably, like, someone just holding this opinion is probably not that crazy. But the way that Dave explained to me why he didn't like the game, it just sounded like he didn't use like 50% of the mechanics of the game, which is unfortunate because I think the game, once you like start to understand how everything works, is very deep. He said it had no like build variety basically. I'm gonna just add Dave's name onto here for shame. Dave gotta face the wall for the firing squad, Chico. Get with the program. We have another firing squad take here from Nobo. Dark Souls 2 is good. Put him up to the firing squad. I'm already noticing some things that I want to move around, honestly. I might do it. If you're looping, it kind of blends together, but builds in Risk of Rain 2 are super unique. Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, the thing is, though, if you're looping, like, you're probably just going to have a fuck ton of items. And you're just going to start... You're either just going to die or you're going to start steamrolling. Dark Souls 2, in case you don't know, is the least liked Dark Souls game by most people. I just finished it on stream last night. Did not enjoy it overall, to say the least. It had moments, but and whoever mentioned Bloodborne is actually a good game, unlike Dark Souls 2. I had this one from Retro written down that was along the lines of most boomer shooters do nothing to move the genre forward. Which I think is kind of a hot take, but I just don't know. We already kind of have this thing on here. I don't know if I'm going to put that on here, honestly. Here's one. Pokemon has been ruined by frequent releases. Again, this was from Profane, I believe. And there was a lot more to it than this. Again, I kind of bastardized it down. But yeah, I would say this is lukewarm. It's just like true. It's just like true. The thing that's weird to me is people just keep buying them shits. Like, why? I guess if you just like Pokemon. Where did this one? I'm getting like all these text layers lost here. There we go. We're sorted. Oh, I have a hot take on Pokemon though. You missed the part where I said Pokemon is killing the reputation of RPGs. Yeah, I just couldn't fit all of that in one. I don't know. You had a very good write-up, to be fair. I just had a hard time fitting it into, like, condensing it into one thought that can go on this list. So we're just gonna stick with that. Here's one from Masked. And this one I think is moderately spicy. But I agree with this. PlayStation exclusives are overhyped. I would put it maybe in spicy. Because there are a lot of people out there who fucking love PlayStation exclusives. Like God of War, Last of Us, Horizon Zero Dawn. None of those games are remotely interesting to me. Certainly not to the point where I would go buy a several $100 console just to play them. The only one that I've ever vibed with at all was Bloodborne. And even then, I borrowed a PlayStation to play it. I would never... So I agree with this one, but I think this one is overall spicy. Demon's Souls, I haven't played it, but sure. Reminds me I need to buy the newest Ratchet and Clank game. See, that's on PC now, though, too. So, yeah, I don't care about the Spider-Man games. I really don't. They look fine, but it's just not for me. I'm not a superhero guy anyways. Here's an interesting one from Flippy. Console games should have mouse and keyboard support. I don't feel strongly about this. I mean, I don't play console games. What do we think? Everyone's saying based, but based is, it's how hot of a take is it? Because I wouldn't put this in lukewarm because I think that, I don't think a lot of people think this. But I don't think it's like a super spicy take either. I think a lot of people will hear this and just be like, oh yeah, sure, why not? It's not hot. Yeah, we'll just throw it in lukewarm. That's a Frozen take. I just don't play console. I just, like...
My hot take, controller with gyro is a great way to play games.
That doesn't sound like a hot take to me, I'm not gonna lie. The only thing I will... Whoever said playing games on mute is better than with sound should be in firing squad. I'm kind of, now that you say that, I'm kind of inclined to agree. That was Noir, yeah. Honestly, like all these other things up here are kind of dwarfed by this. Although this one I think is firing squad worthy too. I play most games on mute. I think if you are booting a game up for the first time and the first thing you're doing is muting it, you're a psycho. I think that's crazy. I think that's absolutely insane. And regardless of whether there are people in chat who agree with that or not, I'm putting it in, I'm absolutely putting it in firing squad. What the hell am I reading? You're a psycho? Fair enough. Maybe you're just a psycho then. This is from Suggestive. This one's also not that hot of a take. High difficulty shouldn't be a selling point of a game. Yeah. I think that's pretty agreeable. I would say this one is maybe warm, though, because I think there is just, like, a certain type of person out there who just likes playing hard games. I'll go with warm on this one. I gotta, like, uncrop here. Boom. We're just filling up the warm. I'm gonna have to fix this later. This is... it's getting too long. Extend my tears all the way out. People are gonna kill me for this, but in first playthroughs I play on easy difficulty. If anyone here has a problem with that, that's stupid. You should play on whatever's fun for you. There goes like most FromSoft games. I don't think, honestly, I think the difficulty of FromSoft games is kind of overrated. And I think that since Dark Souls 2, they have not sold themselves on being the super hard games. They are hard. I think people know that they're hard. But they're not sitting there being like, we're so fucking hard, we're gonna kick your ass. They kind of dropped that after Dark Souls 2. And not only that, but if anything, the games have only gotten more accessible. Except maybe Sekiro, but even then. This one, I think, was also kind of like bastardized a little bit. But this was from Bomber Ninja. And he said, devs should be aiming...
have the balls to post this one in the Discord, but here goes. Roblox games can be better than most AAA and other indie games.
You just haven't played enough games, I think. If you think that unironically, you just haven't played enough games. I really... That's a just nonsensical take. Not only that, but but Roblox, just don't play a game that is aiming to take children's money. Just don't support that game. If you unironically agree with that, I'm inclined to say you're too young to be in this chat. I'm not gonna force you out, but all I'm saying is that's yikes. This is from Bomber, and he said devs shouldn't be aiming for infinite replayability. What do we think about this? What do we think about this? It's fair, yeah. I think a lot of people... Okay, so here's my opinion on this. I think if the game is not good, then it doesn't matter how much artificial replayability there is. I'm not going to keep playing it. There are even games that I rolled credits on that had a whole bunch of, like, you know, New Game Plus stuff to do or whatever that I just did not pursue. Sometimes just beating a game once is fine for me. I think there's maybe a way to word this that makes it a little spicier. I'm a Monster Hunter player. I can't have opinions on this. What if I reword this as infinite replayability is bad for games? Then I think this becomes a little more spicier. I won't attribute this to Bomber because I don't remember what he originally said, but I would say I agree with this, but it's a little spicy. I don't think any game will have... do I have to, like, put it in quotes? Like, obviously not, but... Some games are really trying. I think infinite replayability is done best when it isn't done on purpose. Maybe. Okay, here's one from Shockblade. Games should have original soundtracks instead of licensed music. So that would mean something like Grand Theft Auto wouldn't have like real music on the radio. Stuff like that. My opinion on this is that every game that has licensed music should be toggleable for streamers. But otherwise, I would say this is flaming hot at the absolute lowest. Because I think there are absolutely games that are enhanced by licensed music. Again, it should be toggleable for streamers, but yeah, I just can't. I can't imagine like some of the older GTA games, some of the Saints Row games, a lot of sports games without licensed music. And I don't understand why someone would feel strongly about this. Genuinely. Didn't expect Ultra Kill to have infinite replayability, but it did for me anyways. Someday you will stop playing Ultra Kill. it's just game by game case. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't think Ultra Kill has infinite replayability. It's the beneficiary of like still actively being developed right now, but someday you will stop playing Ultra Kill. The game does not have infinite replayability. This one's gonna go in the whack tier, but I thought it was funny. I'll read the full like text of this one. This was from Asbestos, who said, essentially, Pokemon is conceptually unsettling. All infinite replayability is finite. That is also kind of true. Let me read this exact wording here. The very concept of Pokemon is pretty unsettling to me. You catch a wild creature, keep it suspended in a device that's usually smaller than its body size, then let it out to fight other Pokemon. I honestly think that's kind of funny. However, I've never thought that deeply about Pokemon. So there you go. I'm throwing that one in whack. It's like Asbestos, a little bit spitting, but a little bit whack. It's overthinking for sure. Black and White 2 had the entire story revolve around that idea, which is pretty cool for a Pokemon game to do. Interesting. Yeah, Pokemon isn't made to think. All right, at this point, I think I can open it up to the peanut gallery. Is there any burning hot take that you really want to put on here that I haven't? Try to keep them pretty general. I don't want your like weird random takes about obscure games that nobody has played. But otherwise, I'm down to throw some more stuff on here. Oh, you have one more in the Dumpster Dive channel? Okay, I can look at it. Cheating in video games is fun as fuck. Bro, that's Firing Squad. I'm sorry. That is straight up Firing Squad. You're ruining other people's enjoyment of the game. Fortnite no build is really good. That's a fucking Glacier take. Although I'm not even dignifying the Roblox one by putting it on there. Not in multiplayer. Oh, okay. So cheating in single player games is fun. I would still say this is like, I would put this at least spicy, I think. But yeah, you're not really harming anyone then. Halo should have ended on Halo 3. Again, you guys, you're like absolutely polar takes right now. Just completely frozen over under 6 feet of ice takes right now. Only cheating in GTA 5 is fun online. I still think that's crazy. People like you are the reason I never enjoyed playing GTA online. I mean, I get that like everyone is doing it, and even if you're not, like there's so many ways to get like basically just infinite money. But man, as soon as there's other players involved, you're just ruining people's fun. It just sucks for everyone. Mario Kart and Smash Bros are the only good Nintendo games. Yeah, that's a flaming hot take. The crazy thing about that take, the absolute craziest thing about that opinion, is that both of those games relied on the success of other games to even exist in the first place. You realize that, right? That's what's crazy about that take to me. You wouldn't even have those games were it not for a slew of other successful Nintendo games. Esports are ruining competitive games and are asked to watch just because it's become insanely corporate with how many sponsors and shit. As someone who at least has in the past been into Rainbow Six Siege esports and just enjoyed like watching the competitive level of that game, I kind of agree. It definitely has had a negative effect on that game, even though I enjoyed watching it. And it's like a really kind of shitty career too. It's not like being a professional athlete in like real, quote unquote, real sports. Like you get way underpaid and way overworked. And a lot of people are just not even getting paid at all because the esports bubble has kind of burst and a lot of them have run out of money. Kirby Forgotten Land is... Yeah, no, like, stop with these super specific takes. I feel like being glad that it's dying is kind of a hot take, though, because, I mean, some people enjoy it, and that's like some people's career. I mean, you're basically wishing for people to lose their career, which is kind of fucked up. Like, those people who work in esports are not responsible for your your favorite competitive game being, quote-unquote, ruined. I don't like Team Fortress 2. I just am not into it. I've tried it. I don't care. I don't dislike it, though, actively. Overwatch 1 is better than Team Fortress 2? Bro, that's actually a firing squad take. That is actually a firing squad worthy take. Maybe like day one patch Overwatch 1. Maybe. But there's no way. There's no way. Yeah, that one's crazy. I don't like TF2 community. I mean, any competitive game community is going to be kind of dog shit. Overwatch is the best version of the hero shooter? Maybe, but the bar's not high. I mean, if you consider Rainbow Six Siege a hero shooter, I think that's better, personally. Okay, should I slap my takes on here, or is there any more that people want to add? Oh, Apex is a good one too. Yeah, I forget that Apex is is technically a hero shooter, I guess. I just think of it as a battle royale. The only competitive game type I can think of that isn't insanely toxic is fighting games. I think fighting games are toxic, or they can be. I think the only reason that they're not overtly toxic is because it's just you versus one other person, and the only way you really interact is by actually just facing each other. Like, there's not, like, really a chat or anything. I think there are absolutely insanely toxic people in the fighting game community, though. Okay. Here's my first one. I don't think this one is, like, super spicy, but I'm curious what y'all think of it. Horror games are not a genre. Here, let's just say horror is not a genre. It's a theme. I don't think that a game that is just scary and horror themed is really a genre. I think horror can be like a theme, but then the genre of the game is whatever the gameplay is. So if you say you like horror games, I just assume that you just have shit taste in games, honestly. Now, if you say like survival horror or something like that, that is more of a genre because that describes like an actual type of gameplay. I think just having a scary atmosphere and like jump scares and stuff is not a genre. I'll put it in flaming hot if that's what you want. I don't think that horror is like if someone describes their game as horror, I'm just like, well, yeah, but what the fuck is the gameplay like, you know? And usually what they're talking about is like a cheap looking Unity game that the only thing there is walking around and getting jump scared. Spooky's House of Jump Scares isn't for everyone. I mean, that game actually seems cool from what I've seen. I think that game's like a bit of like a dungeon crawler too, though, isn't it? Like, see, as long as the game could be described with something other than horror, then you probably should describe it as something other than horror, or at least append it to the horror genre. Like it's a horror dungeon crawler. Hold on, I got something about Five Nights at Freddy's. If it's something positive about Five Nights at Freddy's, I'm not gonna be, I'm not gonna be happy about it. Okay, here's another one. This is actually something that Britta and I talked about right before the stream. Here. New games should be more than $60. Let's say new AAA games. First of all, I'm going to ask you, chat, how often do you buy a brand new $60 game? I'm guessing it's not often. I'm guessing it's not often. Second of all, Firing Squad. I buy maybe 1 or 2 a year. So paying $10 or $20 more for it is not going to change anything. Here's my reasoning. How often then do you pay for a $60 game that has, you know, microtransactions, DLC, season pass, whatever the fuck? You end up paying more for the game anyways. Wouldn't you rather just pay the amount that the game is worth and then just get the whole ass game? The reality would probably be that, or you would hope at least, that better games would be made as well. I mean, that's a kind of ideal world type of thing, but they're still gonna have the microtransactions. Okay, you might be right, but here's my thought on this. Maybe I should reword this, that the $60 price tag has done more harm than good. The $60 new game price tag has done more harm than good. Is this a better way to word it? I think AAA devs have wanted to raise the cost of new games for a long time, and what they've done instead is they've kept charging $60 and they found other ways to milk the money out of you. So I think, yeah, I think it's easy to say if they go up to $70 or $80 or whatever, then they're just going to keep having microtransactions. But I think my real take is that at some point we went down the dark path where they should have raised the prices. Okay, so they raise the price and do the same thing. That's you're not understanding my point though. I'm saying that at some point they wanted to charge more than $60, but the people wouldn't have it. So what happened instead was that they charged $60 and then charged you more on top of it for more content. I think there was a point in time where they should have. We don't live in the ideal world. Right, I agree, but I don't think. I know this is a hot take. I'm just saying. I'll throw it in flaming hot. Did my rewording of it get me out of Firing Squad? I don't even hardly play any brand new AAA games. It rarely ever happens. So that's kind of another thing that my take is based on, is just like not really ever paying full price for AAA games. But there we go. I'll put it there.
I've got one. Game companies like Capcom and Sega shouldn't rely on their fan bases to keep a franchise alive.
I don't even know what that means. And this was Britta's take on this. She said a digital game shouldn't cost $60. I honestly think this is a pretty hot take too. Because when you think about it, what really does a plastic case and a CD-ROM add in value? Some people like collecting games, but I just think that probably costs them $1.50 to make, right? If a fan base is what keeps the franchise alive, that franchise is dead, my guy. I mean, counterpoint, if the franchise is still, or if the fan base is still alive, then the franchise is still alive, unless they're not making new games. But they could. If there's a fan base, there's a market. I'd pay $60 for the game. Wait, hang on. What are you saying here? I'd pay for a $60 game if the game didn't have microtransactions, but wouldn't pay for a $40 game with microtransactions? I'm not sure I follow that. It really depends on the game, right? There are plenty of games that have microtransactions that you can just ignore, right? Like, if you like the game, I mean, just play the game. What do we think about this one? A digital game shouldn't cost $60. I think this is like a warm take, maybe. I just think that, like, a physical copy of a game is not adding that much value. Sentimental, maybe, but like monetary value, no. Like you can definitely like print a physical copy of a game for cheap, like dirt cheap. I think a lot of this cost is just going straight to recouping development. My opinion, it'll lead to more of the money grubbing practices we're already seeing. What are we talking? What do you mean? In response to what? This might be my hottest take of all. Some people are not gonna like this. Lowering the prices for digital games. Yeah, I kind of agree. Well, I certainly don't think it'll help physical copies sell. Like, I think lowering the prices of digital games would actually be bad for people who are in favor of physical games. Pokemon is just flat out bad. I don't like any Pokemon. I'm willing to put this in the firing squad. I played Pokemon growing up, and even then, I didn't really like it. And I just think it's flat out bad. I think the games are uninteresting. I think they're baby easy unless you play with like specific rules. I think they're boring. I think they're artistically and vision-wise and design-wise stagnant since about Gen 2 or 3. I just don't like them. The games are not for me in almost any way. And I can't fathom the gigantic fan base that they have. That's my opinion. Am I going in front of the firing squad, chat? No, I'm not. All right, I'll settle just flaming hot. Yeah, like the thing is, if you're playing ROM hacks, like, are you even really like? It's just a totally different game at that point, pretty much. I mean, it's based on Pokemon, but you wouldn't say that the mainline Pokemon games are good because there's some good ROM hacks out there. You would get the lethal injection on Twitter, though. Yeah. It was taken out of the freezer 5 minutes ago. Yeah, but it's thawed a little bit. Man, this one will probably be lukewarm here, but in other places on the internet, people need to be more open to criticisms of games they love. I don't know what it is about gamers, but as soon as you insult something they love, they act like they have just been, not even insult, criticize something they love. They act like they have been personally insulted by you, which is crazy. I just think your personality should not revolve around liking one particular game. That's crazy. Five Nights at Freddy's community needs that advice. The Five Nights at Freddy's community needs to find new games to play because their games of choice are fucking awful. They hand wave criticisms with I like it though. No, it can be even worse. Like when something is just legitimately poorly designed and people tell you that like skill issue or whatever, like that's the shit that really fucking bothers me. It's like just because you've put 100 hours into the game and you don't view this as a problem doesn't mean it couldn't be a problem for someone else. Games like the Telltale games are more like movies than games. We kind of talked about this. Where did we talk about this, though? Which one was it? Maybe it was long and complex stories make games worse. No, it was this one. It was, if games are art, not all games need to be fun. I should also put, I don't know if he's still here, but I should put Beyond Sunset's take on here. Games are not art. We went back and forth about this at one point in the past. And I think that's, yeah, I mean, we had an interesting conversation about it. I will say that much. And I don't think this take is in the right light. I don't think it's as bad as it seems at first, but I do disagree with it. I think video games are definitely art, or they can be. I don't. But the thing is too, like if you're gonna say games are art, you can't start disqualifying games that you don't like from being art. But that said, I think much like movies, games are art. There's just good and bad versions of it. And that was all I had, really. I was trying to think of more, I was trying to think of more hot takes, like, from myself, but I really don't have that many. And honestly, I kind of exaggerated some of my takes, like the $60 one, just for the purpose of my, just for the purpose of throwing it on this chart. Getting some people riled up. Saying something provocative. Getting the people going. What do we think? 4 absolute nuclear takes and 2 just cold takes? Are you talking about mine? I mean, that's fine. I think I only gave 4, though. I think saying something is or is not art is, inane. Do you mean insane or inane? Earnestly. Try defining what is and isn't art. It's about defining what you as the viewer think is good or bad art. Do you like it? Do you think it's reductive? Etc. There's got to be a line out there though where something is not art. I think it's not in what the medium is. I think it's in the intention. I think it lies somewhere in the intention. Like, you know, there's some really dumb, like, sculptural pieces where someone put, like, half a toilet on display and called it art. But if you display that in such a way that it is art, then it's art. But, you know, walking into a public restroom and looking at a toilet, that toilet is not then art because someone else called a toilet art. You know what I'm saying? Saying video games aren't art is the devil's personal take on video games. I don't agree with that. Is the original Pong art, though? Sure. That's actually tough. That's tough. I mean, I get if video games are art, then yes, by definition, Pong is art. Graphics are becoming less important. We have hit close to the peak of realism, and now it's going to move to more stylized. I think it has to, right? Like, it's just... I don't even think that's really a take. That's kind of just a fact. I think the console, mouse, and keyboard one should be moved higher up. Maybe. I think, Smani, you and I have a different opinion because of Siege. But I don't see why that couldn't be, like, universally true for, like, single-player games. Like, if you wanted to plug a keyboard and mouse into a, like, single-player game, I don't see why you shouldn't be able to. It's really just when it comes to multiplayer games that it's kind of a balancing nightmare. Blood is the best build engine game? I don't think that's a hot take either. Well, I don't know. I don't know. What do most people think is the best build engine game? Duke Nukem? Easily blood. Yeah, I feel like most people think it's blood. If you play Souls on mouse and keyboard, you deserve the gulag. The only people I've ever heard of, like, playing those games on mouse and keyboard are speedrunners that have to do certain inputs that you can only do on mouse and keyboard. Oh, if you play DS1 on keyboard, I feel so sorry for you. All right, I think we are gonna. Why? Because that game is horrible. I've tried playing that on keyboard. That was actually the first way I tried playing Dark Souls, was on keyboard and mouse. It was borderline unplayable. And if you unironically played through the whole game with keyboard and mouse, I feel very sorry for you at the very least. I know people who play Elden Ring on mouse and keyboard and are far too good for their own good. It's impressive. Yeah, there's a bit of a bell curve here, I think. The argument of just get a PC Labao when people play keyboard and mouse is the idea that people are fucking broke. Here, let me just go full face cam because I think we're done with the chart here. Yeah, and also I think that the like Sony and Microsoft and whoever else, I think they just don't want you to be able to just plug in a keyboard, right? Like I think they want you to have to buy controllers and stuff like that. And yeah, multiplayer games is a whole different ballpark for sure. Anyways, that was fun. That was a fun little diversion. I enjoyed that. Thank you for the takes, whoever submitted one. It ended up being a kind of interesting chart. I'm just looking at it now. There's maybe some stuff I would move around, but I think it was pretty good. Console war is getting closer and closer every year to the real answer actually just being get a PC. Post the chart in the server. I will. Yeah, after stream I will. PCs are not getting cheaper though. That's the thing. Consoles are getting wildly more expensive, but I think PCs are getting proportionally more expensive to build. I think the nice thing about PC gaming though is that you have such a colossal amount of like indie games and older games available that you can pretty easily find something to play. But I got my PC for $400. Everyone who's saying that they were able to build their PC cheap, I guess Hyena said you could get parts secondhand, which is true. But if you tried to build a PC today, like look at what parts are in your PC, put them into PC Part Picker and see how much it would cost to build that same PC today. And I guarantee you it would be a lot more. Is building a PC that easy? I've done it twice myself and had no issues. So I would say, yeah, it's pretty easy. I think you have to have a little bit of like a baseline of just like technical competence, but it's not that hard. You can just follow instructions. So many games run on budget hardware. Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying too. But I think if you're someone who just wants to play the latest games, I think a console is a way better investment. I really do. I say this as a lifelong PC gamer, almost nearly lifelong PC gamer since I was about 10. I think that at this point in time, if what you want to do is just play the latest AAA games smoothly and without issue, console is absolutely a better way to go. I say this as someone who would never buy a console. Straight up.